Hey guys, how's it going? So, I am about to review The Evil Within, which I just completed today on stream. So, for those of you guys who joined me on the stream, thank you so much for watching. I am now going to be giving you guys my full review for the game. It's been taking me about two and a half weeks, I would say, to actually get through the game. Just really busy with school and work and life and stuff like that. So, I've been putting a little bit of time into it as much as I could over these past 2.5 weeks, and finally I was able to get through it. So, what do I honestly think of The Evil Within? Is it a disappointment? Is it something amazing? Is it good? Is it okay? In all honesty, what I can tell you is that this is a game that a lot of people are going to love, and a lot of people are going to feel about. It really depends on what your background is and where you come from, what type of games that you're into, alright? The survival horror genre in general has undergone a complete change over these past couple years, especially last generation. We saw a lot of games coming from pure survival horror genres that happened to completely change their core gameplay to make it more appealing to a more action-based audience. And obviously this upsets a lot of people. To think of a few, we can look at Resident Evil 6 as the most notable, and how the Resident Evil franchise has really evolved over that time. And then we started seeing, only recently, in the past, I would say, year, we started actually seeing true survival horror games return, where we had games like Outlast, who did a very good job. And we had, Alien Isolation just recently, which did, again, a very, very good job. And so we've had these games come out that necessarily been trying to put the genre back to its roots. They've been giving you limited supplies, sometimes no supplies at all in Outlast's case. And all you're doing is you're trying to go through the experience, and it's very scary, and it's very tense. So, The Evil Within is sort of a throwback, but not really, to a classic survival horror game. It has the elements from a classic survival horror game. You have very limited supplies, there's a lot of resource management, you can craft stuff, and there's upgrade points, and you have to pick and choose which upgrades would be best for your playthrough. And then there's other parts of this game when you're playing it, and you can see how it's kind of adapted to the current action genre that a lot of people are seeming to think that survival horror is. And this game throws a lot of enemies at you at times. And sometimes the game encourages you, and sometimes there's no way to prevent it. The game encourages you to go and shoot enemies and pretend like it's an action game. There's enemies with assault rifles, enemies with sniper rifles, and you have to take cover and aim and shoot them as well. And it does present a challenge, but at the same time, it's kind of stupid because the enemies that you're facing, the thing is, you don't really know what they are. And the game doesn't really explain what they are. They're like zombies, but not really. They're more infected. It's kind of like this infection is spread, and it's taking over people's minds and making them go crazy. And you're a puppet throughout this experience through someone else. That this is really happening in someone else's head. All right. So the game, if you watch my first impressions for the game, where I played through basically the first 30 minutes, you know that I absolutely love the first 30 minutes. The first 30 minutes of this game makes such a great impression that it just really immerses you, and you really get into it. And you're like, wow, this is going to be pretty awesome, this game. I can't wait to go play some more. And then you get to the other chapters, and the game just doesn't hold up at all. It's kind of like, here's the beginning, right? The beginning's like, it just shoots it right up there, right? And then the game slowly falls down. It's not to say that it's a horrible game. It's not to say that it's a bad game at all. It's just saying that the game cannot simply keep up with how much of a great first impression it made, where it was like, you don't know where you are, just thrown into the experience right away. And, the game's sort of almost a walk in the park, but not in the sense of that it's easy, but in a sense that throughout this game, you're not going to be really scared to do anything. The game is not scary at all. Alright? I consider myself a pussy when it comes to horror games. I'm not that good with them. I get scared really easily, and that's why I tend to avoid most of them. Especially through the last, generation mostly. I just didn't play a lot of horror games just because that's just who I am. I just get scared. I just don't see a lot of horror films because of, for that reason as well. So, But as of late, you know, especially when I started doing YouTube and I started getting more serious into being hardcore and trying to play everything, you know, there are games I've played that generally freaked me out. You know, Outlast, PT, Alien Isolation was also really scary. And so I played this game, and to be honest with you guys, completely, this game is not scary at all. It's very lackluster in terms of it being scary. You're going to play this game and you're going to be very calm practically the whole time. You're going to be tense because of what's going on with, oh geez, I only have 2 bullets left and I have 4 enemies in front of me. How am I going to kill these guys, right? That's where the tenseness comes from. But in terms of its scare factor, it doesn't really have any. The game thinks it has it, but it doesn't. And that really surprised me most about this game is that it just was not scary. I wasn't scared to explore the rest of the map. I was just like, yeah, whatever. You know, I'll just go in this room. And the game doesn't have any jump scares. You know, it doesn't have. It's basically like you're supposed to be scared that something's going to happen, but nothing happens. There's nothing that really happens like that. And the game tries to surprise you with epic set piece moments. Like there's this one part where you basically, I don't know, the gravity changes in the world. You start falling down this hallway, and then there's chains spinning that are about to, you know, cut you in pieces. It's like, that would be scary if I was there, but I'm watching this through a television screen, so all I have to do is I have to shoot this little button on the top there, and then the door closes and I'm fine. And it's like, it's not really scary, it's more just epic set-piece moment, you know? So the game story doesn't really do a good job of tying it up in the end, unfortunately. And that's kind of what I was most disappointed about, because I had all these questions, but the game didn't give me answers. And it's kind of like, yeah, whatever. It has a side story going on that's actually more interesting than the story itself, the main story, with Sebastian and his character and what he's been through. But the game doesn't tie it up either. It's weird. So, graphically speaking, this is what I could say about the game. It looks gorgeous. It does. I'm playing this on the PlayStation 4, and it absolutely looks beautiful. It runs at some weird resolution that I can't remember. Basically, it's 1080p and 900p on Xbox One, but it does play in a letterbox widescreen format, similar to most movies. They have the 2 black bars on the top to give you more wide view and a more cinematic experience. All right. So, and the game is played like that. The whole game is in widescreen letterbox format. And the reason that they apparently did this was because it adds a scare factor because you don't know where you're stepping, you can't see your feet. And I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, it adds nothing to the game at all. There are certain games where it helps. If you play Beyond Two Souls, they use the same widescreen letterbox format. That game, it helped. That game, because it was a very cinematic experience, that game felt like it was a film. This game, this is a video game with letterbox widescreen format. It doesn't do anything for it, really. So with that being said, it's kind of an annoyance rather than something, oh, cool, this is nice. And I kind of wish that they made it just general 16:9 aspect ratio. So, but they just didn't. The game also has frame rate issues, unfortunately, across all platforms. If you do not update this game with the day 1 patch on PS4, you are going to be playing at a stable frame rate of 20 frames per second. Doesn't that sound beautiful? So make sure that you update this game with the day 1 patch, because this game with the day 1 patch runs at 25 to 30 frames per second, more average in between, right? Probably about 20, 27, 20, 28, around there. So the game does have frame rate issues. It doesn't dip so much, but it does stutter at times, and it is annoying, especially when you have like a lot of stuff going on. You're like, geez, got this annoying frame rate right now. You know, it kind of destroys. It doesn't destroy the experience completely, but it's just annoying, right? It's like, okay, they could have better optimized this. It does look gorgeous, don't get me wrong, but at the cost of the frame rate. The game also uses a great depth of field effect. It has like a nearsighted close range depth of field, meaning that basically everything around you that's close to you is clear and visible, but everything further away from you is blurred out for a more cinematic presentation. And it also helps with the anti-aliasing in the game, which is actually pretty good to begin with. But there's a lot of nice effects going on. There's great lighting. There's a film grain effect, which thankfully is an option. I hate the film grain effect, so I turned the film grain all the way down. I didn't have to deal with the film grain to make it more appear like it's a film, you know. So it was nice that they gave us an option for that, and they even have Sebastian's hair even has its own physics, so you'll see it like, you know, waving in the wind or whatever. It's just nice detail that they have. So, speaking about that, the game does really well in that category. All right, gameplay. This is like a hit or miss because the shooting mechanics are fantastic. The game handles very, very responsive, and you know, it's supposed to be a survival horror game. So your shots are not completely accurate. If you're going to move, your bolts are going to go everywhere. So you have to be careful to, okay, I got to move, I got to aim, and I got to make sure that I stop and aim for the head, you know, and the enemies are going to be coming at you and stuff like that. You will get, there are times where you get overwhelmed in a corner, and melee, unfortunately, is not good at all. Even when you upgrade melee, it's not that good at all. You'll have to hit people multiple times. It's funny because you'll hit a person, they'll have a reaction, you hit them some more, like 3 times, they'll somehow be able, they have no reaction to hit after the first hit, right? So they'll hit you, you're like, what the hell? So you hit them back again, you keep hitting them, and somehow they're able to get an animation out to hit you again, and you're dead. So it's like enemies can kill you in like 2 or 3 hits, and it will take upwards of near 20 hits to take down one single person, alright? I upgraded my melee significantly, and I still couldn't kill these guys with like 2 to 3 punches. It would still take a long time for me to punch these guys and get them down. Melee really is it's kind of a thing to say, oh shit, this guy's coming for me, I'm out of ammo. Him in the face, okay, he turns around, he's a little bit, you know, he's reacting to it, so okay, I'll reload my gun and then I'll shoot him in the face. That's what melee really is used for. It's not used for, oh shit, I'm out of ammo, now I have to hit this guy. Now, there are times in the games where I ran out of ammo completely and I had to hit the person, and thankfully, they went down. So that was pretty cool. What else can I say about the game? It's very, this is more old school horror, where there's a lot of weird creatures, mutations, a lot of blood, a lot of gore, but it's not suspense. The modern horror of today is suspense, more so than blood and gore and stuff. And this game is sort of classic. It's classic horror rather than modern horror, is the best way I can put it, where there's creatures coming at you that are deformed, and they have, like, you know, people connected together, and the brain tissue and all this crap. It's disgusting, and it's all gory, and it's dripping with blood and ooze. That's classic horror. And it doesn't really have a suspense factor to it at all, to be honest. The game is 15 hours long. It took me about 16 and a half hours to beat the game, but generally about 15 hours long. At the very end, it gives you a death count, excuse me, so you will know how many times you died, and how long it took you to beat the game completely. So that is nice that they put. I died 99 times throughout my playthrough, right? So 99 times I died in 16 hours and 16 and a half hours, really. So it's pretty cool in that respect. Here's what I can say. I wasn't going in expecting much, and I came out of it not really feeling anything much either. So I know my best friend is really into the game, right? He's really into it. He hasn't played it in a while because of other stuff, right? But he is into the game, and he likes it a lot. But I was going into the game, and I wasn't expecting much, and the game didn't leave me with even that much to begin with, all right? So this isn't necessarily a bad experience. It's just nothing special. It's nothing out of the ordinary. It's nothing that you must play, really. If you want a true, better horror experience, my recommendation is go for Alien Isolation, because that game does have an interesting storyline with a somewhat satisfying conclusion. You know, for me, I enjoyed the conclusion. I know a lot of people are like, who didn't enjoy it, but I enjoyed the ending of it. Amazing graphics. It does have Alien Isolation does have frame rate issues as well, but not as frequent as this. All right, and yeah. So I would say if you guys are wondering, I know a lot of people have this question: Alien Isolation or The Evil Within? Which one should I get? Alien Isolation, definitely. And I'm not saying that just because I'm a huge Alien fan. Alien Isolation is really a better game all around in pretty much all categories. So I'm gonna give Evil Within that's something I want to think about. All right, I don't like giving 0.5s at all. I hate 0.5 scores. And, I'm going to give Evil Within a 3 out of 5. It's decent. It's not bad, but it's also right below the good category. You know, if the story was more emotional, and if they actually took the story of Sebastian Castellanos and put it into the main story, it would have been much more interesting, and it would have been much more emotional, and it would have had much more better character development. But they didn't do that. They decided to go for something weird, and basically, you're jacked into the Matrix. I know that sounds stupid, but that's essentially what this game's story is. You're jacked into the Matrix. Go figure. So yeah, would I recommend it? It's a good bargain bin. It's a good game to play if you're bored during the winter or the summer when nothing's coming out. You're like, I'm bored. Which game should I play? You see this on the shelf for $20, sure, go pick it up or rent it. I would say, you know. But this isn't something. Don't expect to come away from this game feeling like, wow, that was an epic experience, or wow, that was a pretty satisfying experience. It doesn't leave you with anything. It doesn't leave you feeling like you just experienced something amazing. And if you go in there, if you go in there expecting that, okay, it's just a standard game and that's it, it's nothing amazing, nothing incredible, just go in there with a very, attitude. And that's what you're going to feel when you come out of it. So, I mean, nothing really I can say there. So, let me know what you guys think. I know some people absolutely love this game. Sorry, I wasn't in love with it. I enjoyed it, but it's nothing that I'm too about. It's something like I'm like boosting, like wow, I'm gonna play this again one day. Jeez, no, probably not. So, thank you guys for watching. Have a good day. This is a short review. It's like 20 minutes. It's pretty good. So, I will see you guys later. I'm gonna be moving on to other games. All right, still gotta get through my backlog. Still gotta get through stuff. And, yeah, so have a good day, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.